Got some room right over here on the right side of the courtroom if you like.
You don't mind being in the jury, but
Big jury box right there. Right up in here? Yep. Great. And as soon as they're covered with gas, they'll regret that. So that's fine.
Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Legislator Field.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. Roll, please.
Field.
here.
Halpin. Barnes.
Here.
Harp.
Here.
Lausell.
Here.
Howell.
Here.
Gifford.
Here.
Fagan.
Here. Do we have any emergency resolutions?
No, we do not.
Okay. We'll have public participation for 30 minutes. At 6:45, we're going to have a public hearing, so we'll have to split the initial public participation in two parts. If you're interested in addressing the legislature, please raise your hand, state your name, I'll call on you. Please try to be brief since we've got a pretty good sized crowd. Joseph?
Thank you, Chairman, members of the legislature. My name is Joseph Campbell. I live in Burdett, Town of Hector, Schuyler County. I will be brief. I already sent the legislature a letter that details flaws contained in the resolution in favor of LPG storage. In fact, this document is so riddled with inaccuracies that if this weren't such a serious matter, it would be laughable. I hope you read my letter carefully, but to reiterate, the DEC has not finalized the environmental impact statement, nor have they issued an underground storage permit. Don't take my word for it, call David Bimber like I did. Legislators, a yes vote on this resolution is not only a vote against the majority of your constituents and over 200 members of the local business community who oppose this project, it is putting your name on a document that deserves to be thrown in the trash. Over the weekend, it came to my attention that some of the legislators were under the impression that the LPG storage project will contribute revenue in the form of sales tax. Mr. Fagan is on record as stating that Schuyler County stands to gain significant revenue through sales tax on this project. Although I knew this wasn't the case, I decided to do a little quick fact check, phone call to the Steuben County Commissioner of Finance, confirmed that Crestwood pays nothing in sales tax to Steuben County for their Savona LPG storage facility. I then called the Schuyler County Treasurer. Enterprise Products pays no sales tax to our county, nor does U.S. Salt or Cargill. So by what stretch of the imagination do we think Crestwood will? A real debate and some independent research would have shown this to be true, and a thorough risk-benefit analysis would reveal that there are real risks to this project with very little benefit to our local economy. Thank you, and I urge all of you, especially my representative here today, Mr. Van Harp, to please do the right thing, vote no on the resolution in favor of LPG storage, and vote yes on the resolution opposing it. Thank you.
Anyone else like to address us?
My name's Lou Damiani from Pecker, New York. Appreciate your listening. The Great Wine region in this area is arguably the premier grape growing region on the East Coast. And the tourist industry in the Finger Lakes is over a $3 billion a year industry. You cannot industrialize this area and keep this tourist industry going. You cannot have the largest landfill on the north end of the lake, the largest gas storage on the south end of the lake, and industrialize all the way in between and think this will retain and grow in tourist dollars. The real dollars are tourist dollars. And I would also like to ask, and I hope we get some investigative journalism going here, what local politicians are directly or indirectly making money off of this deal through their firms or directly. We would like to know that, and I think it's incumbent upon them to come clean on this. So that's number 2. Number 3, this is just the return on investment for all of us. We've worked hard to build this into the premier grape growing winery region it has become. Please do not ruin this. You can't have it both ways. You cannot industrialize the area and have it as a tourist industry. You can't do it. Sooner or later, one's going to break. Thank you.
Mr. in the black.
I'm William O'Lean with Oneida Vineyard and Eagle Crest Vineyards on Hemlock Lake in the Western Finger Lakes. I've been a lifelong resident of the Finger Lakes, and our vineyard's been in business for 142 years. We've been brand building for 142 years, and finally, we're about to realize a long-sought dream to make this a preeminent agritourism industry that all residents of the Finger Lakes can benefit from. There's hundreds of businesses and tens of thousands of jobs versus a promised 10 jobs for this project. Tourists come from Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York City, and New Jersey to escape the traffic, to escape the smog, to escape the energy industry. Tonight, the Finger Lakes brand hangs in the balance. And it's in your 16 hands, your 8 people. You will either honor or betray the trust placed in you by those who elected you, by your neighbors, and by the residents of the Finger Lakes. This day will live in infamy, and you will be judged as history is recorded. Whose interest do you represent tonight? Do you represent your own interests? If you do, I have the Code of Ethics, Resolution number 253, adopted September 9th, 1985 for the Schuyler County, updated September 23rd, 2003. I've addressed each one of you as the Honorable Dennis Fagan, the Honorable Barbara Halpin, the Honorable Philip Barnes, the Honorable Stuart Field Jr., the Honorable Thomas Gifford, the Honorable Van Harp, the Honorable James Howell Jr., and the Honorable Michael Lausell. Tonight, I beg you, live up to your title. You have a choice. Do the honorable thing. Vote no on this LPG storage facility. Or, you could be like all the other politicians that we despise and distrust these days in our allegedly representative republic, self-dealing, and driving our republic to hell. Thank you. I brought a copy of each. If I can approach the bench, I'd like to give you each a copy of the Code of Ethics.
Forward. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Rick Ballard. I live in Montour Falls. I also own 2 small businesses in the county. Actually, I am opposed to this gas storage facility in spite of the fact that I personally would probably benefit through one of my businesses. You see, I'm an independent insurance adjuster, and I write up the claims for motor vehicle accidents. The increased traffic on 14 is sure to give me more business than I care to handle. I urge you to do the right thing for the safety and welfare of the people of the county. Do the same thing that the other 3 counties surrounding Seneca Lake have done and oppose this facility. There are dangers inherent in the storage of explosive gas. This company has already exceeded the maximum limit of spillage into the lake every month, and it's much cheaper for them to pay the fine than it is to rectify the situation. Seneca Lake, many people don't know, is regarded as one of the best lake trout fishing locations in the world. That stands to possibly be ruined just from the spillage that they issue on a monthly basis that is raising the salinity level of our lake. Please do the right thing and save our lake.
Thank you. Barry?
Yeah, my name's Barry Moon. I'm the manager of the Finger Lakes LPG storage facility in Savona. I'd like to just clarify a few issues that have been brought up about the cavern integrity and the flare stacks and a few other issues. Well, 58 is a concern that's been brought up that it was collapsed, the roof collapsed and filled the cavern with rubble, therefore making it unstable for natural gas storage. We received a permit from the DEC, we drilled out the cavern, found that the cavern was intact, it wasn't collapsed. It was due to some sonar issues that they had for the old tools that they couldn't sonar through pipe and get a signal. So that cavern's intact, the cap rock's intact, it's been tested. It was witnessed by the EPA and the DEC, put back in the solution mining service and solution mine that. Also, there's another one with our Gallery 2 issue that's about the 400-ton roof fall, rock that fell in there. That was a sonar that was calculated up to approximately 400 tons of area. And what that was is it was in soluble layers. As that was actively solution mined, when TEPCO was using it, they were injecting fresh water into the bottom, which dissolved the salt out. The insoluble shale layers fall. It happens every day in our normal operational solution mining at the plant today on that. We've done sonars, we've done MIT testing on those caverns. They are intact, they have not collapsed, they are safe for LPG storage. Also, about a 60-foot flare stack. There's been pictures going around that has a 60-foot flame burning constantly. That's a natural gas production flare. Our flare stacks are a pipe that has a pilot on the end of it. It's a secondary safety factor in the facility in case any gas does come through it is flared off and controlled. I'd like to thank the legislators for coming over to Savona and seeing the facility, asking questions about it, and I'm speaking on behalf of myself and all the employees from Crestwood that are here and the ones that aren't here. We would ask you to vote for our facility.
Yes, ma'am.
My name's Michelle Preston. I live right next door to us, at the very last house on Salt Point Road. I just moved here and I sent all of you a letter. There's 2 items you're addressing this evening. The first, I think, is really important because it is item 22, proposing the clean water regulation proposed by the Environmental Protection Agency and the Army Corps of Engineers. And you go on with a lot of speak through here, and I'm not here. I could tell you so many beautiful things about this lake. I can tell you that the lines are great. I can tell you fantastic things. What I can't tell you is the short-sightedness that you're going about this. If you want this LPG facility, go ahead, build it, make them pay in advance. Because they didn't in West Virginia, they didn't in North Carolina, and they left it all to every single one of us. I can't afford the vineyards. I'm a waitress. I don't do anything. I just want to live right there, not blow off maybe, but if my road's gonna get ruined, it's already falling in, by the way, so you should watch the tracks along Salt Point Road, because it's, We're selling $500,000 condos at the end of the road. They're not coming for trucks. All these things are happening here. Don't be short-sighted. If they want it, if you're going to do this and put everybody at risk, make them pay in advance. Nice big escrow account that covers every single one of us, because it's going to be us that are going to not be able to use our land, not be able to use our lake, and not be able to have our livelihoods here. That's all I ask.
Hello, my name is Bruce Dobson. I've been a Schuyler County resident for 40 years, worked at US Salt for 36 years. I've been involved in a lot of the safety committees through the plant, and it has given me the advantage to get a chance to tour storage facilities. And as you go through and they explain how they operate and how they work and the safety equipment and the backup equipment, it's no wonder they've been doing it all these years without any problems. And there's no reason to believe that they can't continue. There's a lot of people, that are against it, and any debatable issue you have, there's going to be for and against. But I did a lot of talking and walking. I did the streets of Watkins, Glen, and Montour while this process has been going on, and I almost believe that I speak for the silent majority. I mean, a lot of people I talk to are going on and saying, I can't believe, that I'm being badgered at the door. I can't believe the horror stories I'm hearing, because this has been going on for years and years and years. If this is going to happen, why didn't it happen already? So I think, when it comes to this issue of intro number 27, I think common sense needs to be looked at here. Common sense tells you, if we've done it for all these years and we haven't had a problem, why all of a sudden scare technique? So I'm in favor of intro 27 and I oppose intro 29. Thank you.
We're going to have a brief break in the questions, public participation, I should say, to have a public hearing on local law intro number 3 of the year 2014, adjusting salaries for certain public officers in the middle of a term. This was based on a countywide evaluation of management employees to adjust their salaries to be consistent with surrounding areas. This way we limit the loss of experienced productive employees and do not have to bear the expense of training new employees. Stacy, do you have anything to add to this?
Just to add, a lot of the majority of management have received their raises in separate resolution. This is spelled out just because these public officials are in the middle of a term, and per county law, we have to do a local law. So it's not just those listed in this local law. Others have been done previously.
Would anyone like to address us in regards to this public hearing? Yes, sir.
My name is Taylor Peck. I have lived in the county since 1976. I am a former county employee. This seems to be poor planning on your part to do this in the middle of the year. This couldn't have been part of the normal budget procedure. And I wonder, and should have been on the docket for November or December. I don't ever remember the legislature giving county employees a raise in the middle of the year because there is a long tradition of Schuyler County providing experienced employees for Tompkins County, Chemung County, and Steuben County, because we train them, we don't pay them that well, and then they go work someplace else.
This issue came up during our budget process last year. We made adjustments on a few employees, and we promised to, with our Human Resources Director, review the situation during the early part of this year, and the result of that is this particular local law. Anyone else like to comment? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing, and we'll go back to public participation. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Paula Fitzsimmons, and I'm a physician assistant in this county for the last 30 years. My name is Paula Fitzsimmons. physician assistant. I've practiced medicine in this county for almost 30 years. I've taken care of many of your families. I'm here to represent the concerned healthcare professionals of Schuyler County. It is not alarmist nor hysterical to say that the health of our residents is in jeopardy if this project goes forward. The emissions from the predicted truck and rail traffic will inevitably increase air pollution in our and nearby communities, which is toxic to our hearts and lungs, and over time will increase preterm birth, asthma, respiratory, and heart disease, not to mention the health impacts if this watershed is harmed. Potential catastrophic accidents may overwhelm our beloved Schuyler Hospital and emergency personnel. Your responsibility is to this community and not to a corporation in Texas. As healthcare professionals, we implore the members of this body to vote against the resolution. Voting against the project would represent the finest act of preventive medicine for your residents.
Stay in the back. You.
Yeah, am I talking loud enough? I tend not to.
You're talking loud.
I believe that the reason we try to elect intelligent and conscientious people to the legislature is so that we can work together to come up with the best ways to serve the best interest of the most people that we can in the county. Given that, I think we all have to look squarely at two basic facts in this issue. One of them is that there are some serious potential downsides to this project that will affect everybody if they happen. The other is that the upside is not that big, and that only a small percentage of us will benefit from it. So for that reason, I really think at this stage in the process, it's very important to recognize that wisdom and sincere public service are probably on the side of being cautionary rather than hasty. So I would like you to not vote to cut short or bypass the research that's being done, so that whatever vote is taken can be taken on the best information we can get.
Thank you.
My name is Frank Pastor. I've been to Schuyler County all my life, town medic for 30 years, and I work at U.S. Hall. I both live and work within 5 miles of the proposed storage facility. So needless to say, the safety of this project is important to me also. Natural gas has been stored at our site for almost 20 years, and I worked at the plant back when LPG was stored there also. I can attest to the safety of these operations as I'm around it every day. U.S. Salt's owners have safely stored LPG in the Finger Lakes region for over 60 years in the same salt formations that we are. Just last month, FERC approved a small expansion of the gas storage on site. With the help of the DEC, we completed an exhaustive review of all the issues raised, and no problems were found. I have every confidence that this project can be done safely. Thank you.
My name is Jeremy Alderson. Contrary to what you've been told, somebody asked, why wouldn't common sense dictate that this would be fine to expand the caverns, but left out the part about their expanding into a cavern that's already been ruled geologically unstable and unsafe by the Department of Energy. Mr. Moon talked about how they have sonars that show how safe it is, but he left out the part that they're concealing them, fighting to keep them a secret, and no independent expert is allowed to review them. We just have their word for it and their willful refusal to release the information. My question for you is, have you thought about the potential for incurring liability here in Schuyler County with your vote today? Right now, you have no emergency preparedness whatsoever. I have 10 Freedom of Information requests, and I know you have no training, no equipment. Your Schuyler County emergency manager doesn't even have a map of that facility. There's all kinds of accidents that can happen, from train derailments to tanker truck collisions, pipe ruptures, gas migrating through the salt into town. And by the way, these kinds of accidents have happened at these facilities all over the place, and why we should be exempt is a mystery to me. With your previous stance, it's not our jurisdiction. If there would be an accident to the lawsuits, you would have a mitigating thing to say, which is, we didn't want it, we didn't bring it, and we had no say in it. But if you take this vote, I would ask you, are you incurring liability for the county to have both requested the facility here and made no preparation whatsoever for what would ensure the safety of the citizens if it comes? Under those circumstances, I think you would be begging for lawsuits and for great judgments against you. And I wonder if you have taken that thought into account when you make this vote. Thank you.
Brian Gardner, Town of Dix resident, Deputy Emergency Management Coordinator, and I'll take exception to everything you just said. To make the statement that this county is not prepared is wrong. I've been a trainer for the emergency responders in this county for 10 years. Do we have a plan for that facility? No. Do we plan? Let me speak, please. Do we have a plan for an event that will happen there? Absolutely. As first responders, as firefighters, we can't train in every individual house in here if your house catches fire. Do we know how to put the fire out in that house? Absolutely, because we have training towers. We train on propane trucks. The New York State Fire Academy is located in Montour Falls. They have a flam gas workshop. Many of our first responders have been there, trained on propane emergencies. Transport vehicles, train vehicles, over-the-road trucks. We've trained on that. We've done scenarios. Have we done scenarios exactly for Crestwood? Absolutely not, as he requested in his FOIL request. But we run drills. We've done mass casualty drills at the hospital, with the ambulance service, with the fire departments. These first responders are trained. So you guys have a tough vote here tonight. I'm not here to say one way or another against that. But to say that the first responders of this community are not ready to handle something like that is totally wrong.
Sir, I do not want you to risk. My name's Peter Wadensky, town of Reading residents. I've been here for 47 years. I love this community, and sir, I do not want you to risk your life at that facility.
That's what we do. That's what the first responders volunteer for.
Amen.
I don't know.
Houses burning at once.
If U.S. Salt has been in violation in the past 18 quarters on salt brine disposal into the lake, and they've been cited for it, and they would just pay the fine rather than fix the problem, how the hell can you vote on something that would mitigate, or not mitigate, but enhance or make the problem even bigger by storing gas there? It just doesn't make sense. And I hear engineers say, well, we can engineer our way out of this. Well, I'm sorry, but you can't. You don't know what nature can bring. And there are experts in the field, I don't have the expertise, that are challenging this facility. And then you step up to the plate and you say, well, I think it's going to be safe based on the almighty dollar. Somebody's going to be making a lot of money, but it's not for the benefit of the residents of Schuyler County. In your proposal, it says that it'll add several high-paying jobs and in excess of $20 million, well, of a tax base. But they sued us, or were threatening to sue us, to lower their tax base. I don't get it. You're taking several high-paying jobs and thousands of people that depend on Seneca Lake for their drinking water. It just doesn't make any sense to me. and how you can bring forth to this legislative body a resolution that says we should move forward. You're not doing your due justice or your due diligence as a legislature. How can anyone here sitting in good conscience say that they would vote for this facility when they don't have all the facts and details? It's so controversial, and yet you want to push it right through. Why can't you wait? So, thank you.
My name is Byron Condon. I would like to comment on intro 27. First of all, I've lived in Schuyler County all my life, next to the racetrack. I've worked at U.S. Salt for 37 years. I've been a firefighter, volunteer firefighter, EMT for 23 and a half years almost. I've been a former union president at U.S. Salt. I've been concerned with a lot of safety issues. I've done a lot of research, a lot of stuff on it. Being in the fire department, I've seen a lot of stuff. Being on EMS calls, I've seen a lot of stuff. I tell you, I'm proud to be one of the many volunteers in this community. I'm proud to be living in Schuyler County. I've looked at many different areas on this. We have worked numerous hours. I think we had like 800 man hours this year for training in the fire department. When I hear somebody say, we don't know, you know, if we don't, we get people like the EMO that helps us out. We call elsewhere to get help. We are one of many that care about the safety of all of our communities. That's why we're firefighters. We volunteered to do this. We'll be at your house tomorrow maybe. We don't know. It can happen. But you know what? Yes, we do. We put our own lives in jeopardy sometimes because we're going to save your life or save you or even save the dog when we go over the gorge. But that's what we're trained to do. And we're trained well enough that hopefully, I'm not saying it will, but hopefully nothing will happen to us. Through my years at work, I've seen us go from safety issues to other things. Being in the union, I was involved in a lot of safety things, setting up a lot of safety programs in there. Going back to the fire department, when we're in there, you set up a pre-plan after the building's built. We have one for U.S. Salt. We have one for Cargill. We have one for every place you can imagine. So we do set these up. But until the place is there, we can give them, okay, fire code goes up and tells them what to do. So I've been there this many years, and I have never seen or had a problem with the gas storage we have down there right now. So I believe in this project, and I'm a firm supporter of it. And granted, I don't care who you are, that fire department or these people, even at Cargill or U.S. Salt, they let us go to respond to your house or to your family when they're in need. It just hurts me when I hear people say that we're not looking out for people. And most of you know me, and I thank you very much for your time and the time to speak.
Good evening. My name is Dr. Cumany Fitzsimmons. I'm a family physician in Schuyler and Chemung counties. As a native of this gracious land of Schuyler, I grew up with the benefits of this wondrous place. As an adult, I traveled the world, spent a decade of my career as a physician building my beautiful family. I have practiced medicine in areas of the world where people do not have access to clean air and clean water, and I cannot imagine a similar fate for our community. As a doctor and a mother in this vibrant community, I shake with disbelief that this body of community leaders would vote to risk the welfare and safety of each and every one of us. Do not let us join the millions of people across the world who do not have access to clean air and clean water. Do not turn my life's work into finding clean air and water for my patients and for my children. My job, as well as all of yours, is to protect this community and to do no harm. Bingo.
comments are up, we'll go into the resolutions.
We're in order for...
Chairman, would you consider extending the public comment period in light of all the folks not showing up tonight?
No, sir.
In order for resolution number 186, approve the minutes of the May 12, 2014 regular meeting of the Schuyler County Legislature.
So moved.
Second. Any corrections or additions? Roll, please.
Field,
Yes.
Halpin,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Lausell,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Gifford,
Yes.
Fagan.
Yes.
Or in order for intro 1, 2, and 3, authorized contract with John Ball, occupational therapist, public health. Authorized contract with Lindsay Heyer, speech therapist, public health. And appoint Jill Wendella as Schuyler County's public health accreditation coordinator, public health.
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Field,
Yes.
Halpin,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Lausell,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Gifford,
Yes.
Fagan.
Yes.
For an order for intro 4, 5, and 6, appoint Janelle Walker to the local early intervention coordinating council of public health. Authorize amending resolution number 161-14 titled Authorized Contract with Finger Lakes Parent Network Community Services and authorized contract with Lifetime Care Community Services.
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Field,
Yes.
Halpin,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Lausell, Howell,
Yes.
Gifford, Fagan.
Yes.
For an order for intro 7, 8, and 9, authorize the creation and filling of 2 per diem senior professional registered nurses, community services. Authorize rescinding resolution number 177-14 titled Authorized Layoff of 1 part-time cleaner position, buildings and grounds, and adopt a highway program, highway department.
Move it.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Field,
Yes.
Halpin,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Lausell,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Gifford, Fagan.
Yes.
For an order for intro 10, 11, and 12, authorize business associate agreement and amendment with EBS Grimsco Incorporated for the flexible spending account plan, human resources, adopt workers' compensation transitional duty policy, human resources, and authorize distribution of mortgage tax receipts pursuant to section 261 of the New York State tax law.
I'll move it. Second.
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Field,
Yes.
Halpin,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Lausell,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Gifford,
Yes.
Fagan.
Yes.
In order for intro 13, 14, and 15, standard workday and reporting resolution for the year 2014, authorize contract with EVP Computing and Consultation for professional services, information technology, and authorize amending the 2014 unallocated insurance budget.
I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just a comment, I won't be supporting intro 13 only because of the process involved. I consider it another unfunded state mandate.
Roll, please.
Field,
Yes.
Halpin,
No on 13, yes, and 14.
Barnes,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
Lausell,
Yes.
Howell,
Yes.
Gifford, Fagan.
Yes.
We're now in order for intro 16, 17, and 18. Authorized contract with Admit Computer Services Incorporated Emergency Management Sheriff. Authorize an equitable sharing agreement and certification with the United States Department of Justice Sheriff's Office. And authorize agreement renewal with Comnetics Incorporated for fingerprinting system maintenance, Sheriff's Office.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Field,
Yes.
Halpin,
Yes.
Barnes,
Yes.
Harp,
Yes.
LaSalle,
Yes.
Howell, Gifford, Fagan.
Yes.
In order for intro 19, 20, and 21, authorized contract with Jessica Sachs Esquire for Conflict Defender Services, Public Defender's Office. Declare negative declaration, state environmental quality review for issuance for public entertainment permit Watkins, Glen International Incorporated 2014 events, and issue public entertainment permits to Watkins, Glen International Incorporated for their 2014 events.
I'll move it.
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Field.
Yes.
Halpin.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Harp.
Yes.
Lausell.
Yes.
Howell.
Yes.
Gifford.
Yes.
Fagan.
Yes.
An order for intro 22, 23, 24. Resolution opposing the clean water regulation proposed by the Environmental Protection Agency and Army Corps of Engineers. Authorized contract with ARC of Schuyler County for public transit. And resolution and notice of determination of non-significance pursuant to 6 New York's NYCRR Part 617 relative to the proposed construction of an aeration system at the north end of Juanita Lake.
Second.
Any discussion?
I'll be abstaining from resolution 23, my involvement with Schuyler ARC.
I'll be voting against resolution 22. I know this was brought up for discussion beforehand, and basically it's some kind of enlargement as far as the bodies of water that are covered under the Clean Water Act. I don't think we've had any kind of significant discussion. This is the typical boilerplate that other counties have been passing and will planning to pass also.
This particular resolution was sponsored by the Soil and Water Conservation District. I don't know anyone that does more with their programs in preserving our water quality than Soil and Water Conservation. Basically, the regulations in the past had to do with navigable waters. Now they're extending their federal reach to literally ditches and significantly opposed by the agricultural community, and I certainly will support it.
I would point out that the Schuyler County Farm Bureau is adamantly opposing this revised clean water regulations.
Roll, please.
Field.
Yes.
Halpin.
Yes.
Barnes.
Yes.
Hart.
Yes.
Lausell.
No on 22, yes on 23 and 24.
Howell.
Yes on 22 and 24, yes on 23.
Gifford. Fagan.
Yes.
For an order for intro 25, 26, and 27. Authorized stipulation agreement with Aaron B. Spencer. Authorized creation and filling of a full-time nurse practitioner, community services. And resolution supporting Finger Lakes LPG Storage's liquid petroleum gas project and calling Governor Cuomo to allow the Department of Environmental Conservation to issue necessary approvals.
Second.
Any discussion?
Comment on number 27. I will not be supporting this resolution because from the very beginning, it was clear that there was no consensus on this project, that there were very strong feelings on both sides of it. I went to a number of meetings presented by both sides on the issue, and I very quickly made a determination that I had no ability to make a decision on the appropriateness or the lack thereof of this project. The reason that we have DEC in New York State is to make the decisions on these types of projects. They're the folks who hire the technicians who are capable of doing this. What I could have supported was this resolution minus the title, because I strongly believe that after 5 years, the DEC should be able to make a decision on this project, one way or another, and then we can all get on with our lives. So I will be voting no.
Jim?
How appropriate it is that we are discussing this proposal here in the Schuyler County Courtroom. This courtroom exemplifies justice, fairness, and liberty. It is the courtroom where Honorable William N. Ellison, the only Supreme Court judge to come out of Schuyler County, presided. And it's a room where many county employees congregated years ago following the bleakest day in the history of Schuyler County. A jury acts in the same democratic way as a legislature or a committee. There are a group of individuals arriving at a consensus, working together as ladies and gentlemen. Like in a court case, there are winners and losers. There are experts presented on both sides of the issue, and not everyone is happy at the outcome. And in a few moments, we will witness that same scenario. I have worked hard to understand this issue. I have visited both facilities here at US Salt and met with the folks at Crestwood at US Salt, and I was impressed. I have also visited the site in Savannah, and I was impressed. I attended meetings as a Rotarian. I provided point counterpoint. I had the energy people there last year. I had Joe Campbell there as my guest a few weeks ago to present the other side of the issue to the business people in this community to provide the awareness that is necessary for this community to understand. So to the opponents and others, I'm aware of the issues. I recognize and understand your concerns. I understand your concerns regarding tourism. I recognize and understand your concerns regarding transportation, including truck, rail, pipeline issues. And I understand your issues regarding noise and the flare stack. To the supporters of the issue, I recognize and understand your concern regarding increased tax base to the county, regarding employment, and regarding job retention. This is a democracy in action here this evening. The same government that gives you the right to protest openly is the same government that takes action with a simple vote. I ask that all of you respect both sides of the issue, irregardless of the outcome, and treat one another with dignity. We, the folks at this table that will be voting here in the next few minutes, are not ignorant. You may think that because we may not vote in favor of your concerns. So I look upon the criticism that was geared towards myself and others as a form of bullying. And school teachers that are here, people involved in public education, you certainly understand the consequences of personal attacks upon people that don't agree with your philosophy. Thank you.
Michael?
I would differ somewhat in terms of the number of letters that I have gotten in opposition to this facility. I mean, the numbers are overwhelming. And just like Jim Howell, I was at the Seneca and the Balance presentation at the high school and saw all the many business people that were there that were opposed to the project. I've had my particular concern, which has been our county emergency management plan. And I'll be very clear, I have not in any way criticized the preparedness or the effectiveness of our emergency personnel. But I'm very concerned that the responsibility for having an up-to-date and effective emergency management plan is with us, the legislature. And I began in February to ask. I introduced a resolution. Let's name a committee. Let's review our emergency management plan. Because if you look on our website, it hasn't been updated. It's obvious. And rather, I think what's happening is that it's a lot easier to just let it sit, see if the permit is issued or not, and then deal with the reality. But way back since February, I've been saying, what are we going to do about the transportation of these materials through our community? Because that's our responsibility. And it's very clear that Crestwood is renting the space to other owners, and once that gas goes out on the highways or on the railroad, it's not their responsibility. Do they want an accident? Of course not. But the problem is that it's not their responsibility, it's our responsibility. And honestly, right from the beginning, I was very clear. There's two things that really worry me. Because emergency management plans can address specific dangers. If you look at Yates County or Chemung County, they have a lot of different specific situations. A bank by the side of a stream that may fall into the stream and flood houses. Those kinds of situations. And what my concerns here are the trestle in the Glen. If tank cars fall off of that with liquid propane gas, we need to know What is the consequence of that? And I know we've had a lot of discussions in this legislature. It's like, well, that's a very low probability. Okay, I understand, it's low, but we need to know what the consequences are. And we need to understand that if liquid propane starts flowing down that stream and it goes right down that deep Glen and comes out right here on the courthouse lawn, how long do we have to evacuate the jail and the sheriff's office and the emergency management office itself and all the other county employees? I mean, we need to know the answer to these questions. Only then can we make an informed decision. Now, I say informed decision because, of course, emergency managers don't dictate what happens. They always prepare to respond. And I understand that. But without those problems having been studied, you have no way to effectively respond. The other thing is the long downgrade that leads right into the downtown. Now, on the way to visit the Savona plant, we were talking about the two trucks that went down Mud Lake Road and lost their brakes, and one went right into the creek there, and the other tried to turn and flipped over. And as far what I understand is that a lot of drivers don't have maps, they just use GPS now. And if it sends them down a road they shouldn't go, they don't know any better. But in particular, this hill coming into town, we all know at the end there's a sharp turn as it leads into Franklin Street there. And even our Project Seneca has identified it as a problem that would be good to eliminate. So I've been trying to convince the legislature, look, let's update our plan. If you identify a problem like that, you could apply for hazard mitigation funds. Because we all know the Project Seneca would love to have development here, but we're never going to be able to afford to buy that property and straighten out that curve. At least if a truck loses its brakes, it's got a straight shot coming into town and doesn't have to risk overturning there. So these are questions that frankly, it has taken a long time to get this legislature to even entertain. On May 12th, I distributed a 3-page letter to all of them. And because of that, it was put on the agenda for our Public Safety Committee meeting. And finally, we begin to have a conversation. And I feel like everything I want to talk about, no one wants to talk about. And what Mr. Fagan wants us to talk about, he doesn't want anyone to talk about because he just introduced this legislation last Wednesday at a Legislative Review Committee meeting, not bringing it up through the committees where we could actually discuss what are the implications. But seeing it that day, my big concern was the paragraph that says that we consider the safety of our residents and the importance of tourism. Now, if we haven't even reviewed our plan, how can we say that? That's what I don't understand. And instead of taking that out, which of course wouldn't look good, there was a amendment that there will be an appendix to the plan when it gets done, addressing the issues of transportation of these materials through our county. Now, it sounds to me like it's just a Band-Aid being put on because of emergency management plan. I mean, I'm not talking just off the top of my head. I've attended emergency management trainings, and they say it takes a while to invite all the town officials and all the department heads and the businesses and work together on developing this plan, which then gets put out for a 30-day public comment period. But here we've got a little Band-Aid that's going to take care of the problem. Let's go ahead and do it. Now, I just want to go on to the next thing, which is that as a community, I mean, this is the Glen. This is where tourists come. It's the second most visited park in the state. And every summer, 500,000 people are in that Glen. Now, my concern first was like, wait, what happens at the county building? And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, what about a day when there's hundreds of people in that Glen? Where do you run? And we're going to put those lives in danger. And I know, there's all kinds of arguments. Oh, there's already cars going over there. Yeah, but we would know that every day there'd be at least 5 more tank cars going over there. And I don't think that rail line is used very much. I don't know because we haven't got the statistics. But if we had, we would know what the story is with that. Just like the hill. It's like pulling teeth around here. Well, there's already gasoline trucks that go down there. Okay, well, then we already have a problem. Let's look at it. There's nothing wrong with looking at these problems and knowing, educating ourselves. And I just have to say again, I don't mean to criticize the Emergency Management Office. I think the problem here rests with the legislature. There's a feeling that we don't want to talk about this. And I will also say to all the employees that have been here from U.S. Salt, I understand there's word out there that if the permit is issued, the facility will close. And I heard it myself from the president of your company, and I don't appreciate that. You know, to me that's bullying. Now I know it's not said as bullying. It's like, hey guys, we're in the business of storing gas, not salt. Okay, you know, I mean, this creates pressure on this legislature that in the private world, you just say, yeah, right, sure, you go right ahead and close up and leave town. It leaves it onto us. What your livelihoods, that the fact that that might be affected, it leaves it to us, pressuring us to support this project. And I don't think that's right, and I don't think this legislature should put up with that.
I have reviewed the emergency management training. I have reviewed the response plan. The plan itself is very adequate. It's very good. The training, they are well trained to deal with emergencies in this community, number one. Number two, you can't plan for human error. It's going to happen, all right? And because of the gravity of this and the concern over this and a couple of misstatements, I believe, that were just made, all right? It's basically the inference is that refusing to look deeper into the problem and the issue of the transportation. I would suggest a resolution to table this until we get the annex to the emergency response plan to ensure its adequacy to every member of the legislature to deal with the problems in the transportation of the LPG.
Any other comments?
Yes, I'd like to make one. I represent the village of Watkins, Glen, and a little portion to the west of Watkins, Glen. And I guess I best can say is I represent the silent majority. The people that live in Watkins, Glen, their history, I see several of them here tonight whose great-grandfathers came over from Italy. And when they first settled here, they went to one of two places. They were both the salt companies. There's generation after generation after generation, and still many current employees who grew up here, they reside in the village of Watkins. You would think the village of Watkins would be the number one person that would be having a problem with this problem. That's not the case. The majority of the people know that the salt company has functioned for many, many years. They want it to continue to flourish. They want it to continue to have employment. They want advanced employment. And they're a very good community organization. So am I representing what I call the silent majority, because they realize that people like myself and village board members like that do what they feel a fair job, and we'll find out come November if they want me back in again. But I am voting yes, because that's what my constituents want me to do.
What about salt?
Yeah.
It's not salt. Not salt.
Gas.
Yeah, it's gas, not salt.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until we get the annex for the response to
Any discussion? Roll, please.
Field.
No.
Halpin.
Yes.
Barnes.
No.
Harp.
Yes.
Lausell.
Yes.
Howell.
Yes.
Gifford.
No.
Fagan.
No.
4 to 4 failed.
I'd like to make a few comments in regards to our response to legislator Lausell's concerns regarding emergency management. We did add a clause in the resolution, be it further resolved that Schuyler County's Emergency Management Director is hereby directed to prepare and incorporate an appendix to the hazardous materials plan addressing transportation-related incidents involving the release of hazardous materials, specifically liquid petroleum gas. I should also like to add that as part of that appendix, this is from Mr. Bill Kennedy, our Director of Emergency Management. The appendix will include the current list of facilities with extremely hazardous substances, the threshold planning quantity, and each facility's emergency coordinator and contact info, identification of transportation routes of extremely hazardous substances, identification of the areas likely to be affected by a release, emergency response and public notification procedures both on and off-site, identification of the county emergency coordinator, outline evacuation plans for at-risk areas, describe local emergency equipment and facilities and the persons.
How about the idea that risk doesn't exist if we don't do it, guys? If the gas isn't there, we don't need the emergency management plan. That's the whole point.
Describe local emergency equipment and facilities and the persons responsible for them, identification of training and exercising programs to support the response. I'd also like to address Mr. Campbell's statement where he referenced, I believe it was a discussion from Mr. Benber overseeing the SEIS. Was it a discussion or did he have something in writing?
We spoke on the phone and I'm expecting a reply.
His response is basically to be expected as a formal response from DEC. I stand by my DEC contacts that the SEIS and the permit are ready to be issued upon receiving the green light from Albany. If there was not a technical sign-off by DEC staff, FERC would never have ordered the approval of the natural gas storage expansion project by Arlington. There's some reference regarding ethics. I've seen some letters that had asked that I recuse myself or that there was a conflict of interest between myself and my former employment. I was owner of Fagan Engineers in Elmira, New York. We worked with, specifically with Talisman. We designed pipeline and erosion control plans for pipelines. We oversaw the construction of major compressor stations throughout the northern tier of Pennsylvania. I sold my business to my employees at the end of 2012. I have absolutely no involvement with the management of Fagan Engineers since then. I would also like to point out that I have said on numerous occasions that I do not support fracking in the Finger Lakes, specifically here in Schuyler County, within the Seneca Lake watershed. The reason for that is twofold. First, from a technical basis, you need to have a minimum overburden on top of the Marcellus Shale to adequately frack horizontally. The standard number is 3,000 foot of overburden. And Pennsylvania, where they have been fracking, the current depth at the margin of their fracking operations is 3,500 foot of overburden. Here at the proposed LPG storage site, I believe the distance on top of the Marcellus Shale is approximately 1,600 feet. There's no way technically that horizontal fracking would work here in Schuyler County, specifically in the Seneca Lake watershed. A second reason, and maybe even more important to oppose fracking in Schuyler County, has to do with our limited highway infrastructure. I've witnessed firsthand the impact of the trucks in the northern tier of Pennsylvania and what they do to the community. In Watkins, Glen, we would have a significant adverse impact to our tourism if fracking ever did occur here, and I oppose it. Now, one may say, and I think one letter did say, that there is an inconsistency in my argument to not allow fracking in Schuyler County because of increased truck traffic, and backing this project where everyone assumes there will be a significant increase in truck traffic. The fact of the matter is, we had a very severe winter this past winter, and yet we had no shortage of propane locally. TEPCO storage facility was adequate to provide storage locally for our propane users' needs. Statewide, the shortage of propane storage was occurring in the eastern part of the state, Selkirk, Albany area. If this project by Crestwood does obtain the green light from Albany, the collective impact between Crestwood and TEPCO will be no more significant in terms of truck traffic locally than what you saw this past year. The reason being that excess new storage is going to be serving the eastern part of the state, and how does propane get to the eastern part of the state? By pipeline, not by truck traffic. I also would like to explain my initial involvement in the project. I was, at the time, part of the Schuyler County Industrial Development Agency when this project first was proposed. And I looked at the plans with some interest for the brine storage facility, as I have designed numerous sanitary landfills and leachate storage facilities at those landfills, and I'm well aware of what state-of-the-art liners are. And what was being proposed by Energy was a single liner system similar to what is used at the Bath Savona facility. I contacted the Reading Planning Board about my concerns, and I quickly realized that the Reading Planning Board did not have the expertise to be the seeker lead agency on this project. And I lobbied DEC to become the lead agency. I also lobbied DEC for the installation of a dual liner system with leak detection. That's similar to what we have in our municipal landfills. That's state of the art, and at the very least, that would be necessary for the brine storage pond. And that is exactly what the staff at DEC up in Albany eventually demanded for this project. There was the discussion about driving on County Route 23 where we've had a couple of truck accidents. And we're finding out that that's a limited weight restricted highway, county highway. And we're finding out that trucks are being directed to that highway by GPS. The sheriff is coordinating with DOT, and there's some potential thought that the reason these trucks are being directed by GPS is that we didn't pass a specific resolution on our weight restrictions. So we're certainly investigating that, and will hopefully eliminate that potential problem. There's been some discussion about bullying by Crestwood in terms of the possibility of them closing the doors to the salt company if this project doesn't go through. Clearly, one benefit of the project would certainly be jobs retention. Crestwood is the largest taxpayer in the county. They employ 130 people. We'd have significant economic difficulties, financial difficulties, if in fact they did pull out. But I also received bullying from some of the gas-free Seneca folks. Specifically, a number of out-of-towners wrote and said that if we pass this resolution, they'll never come to Schuyler County and shop again. That's a form of bullying.
Schuyler County residents in this chamber right now, sir.
Excuse me?
There are Schuyler County residents in this chamber right now, so you can see us fire pins.
That's fine. I'm just telling you about 3 to 1 were the emails from out of county.
We've worked hard to fill this chamber with Schuyler County residents.
That's fine. I'm just telling you what I saw.
A lot of people share the language.
What about being a good neighbor?
So, with that, let's call for a roll.
This is on intro 25, 26, and 27. Field?
Yes.
Halpin?
Yes, on 25, 26, and no on 27.
Barnes?
Yes.
Harp?
Yes.
Lausell?
Yes on 25 and 26, and no on 27.
Howell?
Yes on 25 and 26, no on 27.
Gifford?
Yes.
Fagan?
Yes.
Protection Rehabilitation District, resolution opposing the proposed LPG storage facility in Schuyler County, and local law intro number 3 of the year 2014, adjusting salaries for certain public officers in the middle of a term.
Is there a motion?
28, 29.
Legislator Gifford moves 28 and 30.
I move 29.
Second.
Second. All three or just 29?
Please.
Any discussion?
Yes. I'll address Resolution 29 that I sponsored. I know that Resolution 27 was at the rumor stage. Like I said, it got introduced last Wednesday. Shove it right in there and see if people won't even notice. That's what's happening around here. And that's Resolution number 29. And I've been texted that there are another 125 people that have signed a petition out in the parking lot in support of it. And I believe it's very important that those people have a voice here too. I've received many letters, and I'm just going to read one from Jim Haslett. To the Schuyler County Legislature from Jim Haslett. I find it scary being the oldest member of the Haslett family and worried about the well-being of my future generations. We settled on a dairy farm in Mecklenburg in the 1700s and then moved along Seneca Lake in the village of Hector in 1852. Our family now has orchards, vineyards, and 2 wineries. We make our living on the people who travel to this area because of the natural beauty of the land and lake, as well as our award-winning wines. If we mess up the land and the lake, we are all in serious trouble. Please think about the future, all of our children and their children's children. Don't take this special place away from them. Sincerely, Jim Haslett.
Point out one of the reasons why the resolution was submitted at LRRC and not at committee was the fact that we still had a tour of the Bath Savona facility, and I didn't want to have the resolution prior to that tour. Simple as that. Roll, please.
Okay, this is on intro 28, 29, and 30. Field?
Yes on 28 and 30, no on 29.
Halpin?
Yes on 28 and 30, no on 29.
Barnes?
Yes on 28 and 30, no on 29.
Harp?
Yes on 28 and 30, no on 29.
Lausell?
Yes.
Howell?
Yes.
Gifford?
Yes on 28 and 30, no on 29.
Fagan?
Yes on 28 and 30, no on 29. Is there any new business? How about unfinished business? Report on standing committee still?
I would just like to point out that on June 25th, the Schuyler County Cooperative Extension and Hidden Valley 4-H Camp are offering public tours of Hidden Valley Camp. There are people in the room tonight that are interested. Very educational. I urge you to take advantage of that on June 25th.
See if you get my support. I'm your consistory.
Are we allowed?
We're still conducting a meeting.
No, I'm all done with you.
Public participation.
Yes. I would like to point out that most of the Crestwood supporters are on the payroll. The people in opposition here are citizens
taking their own initiative to be here. We're not paid, we're not on a payroll. We live here. If the majority of the people here take the position to show up, couldn't you have just tabled it? There are a lot of unhappy people. Why the rush? We're heartbroken.
If fracking's no good for Schuyler County, then why is it still?
I'll defer to her.
All right. Go ahead, Pat.
I just said it.
Two points. One to you, Chairman. I noticed when you were discussing selling your company, there was some fairly precise wording. You have no management interest in the company?
Right.
Do you still have ownership interest in the company? Or did 100% of the company get sold at the end of 2012? Okay, that's not, okay. And Mr. Harp, I'm confused because you were all over the place. Your argument for tabling it was sound, yet you voted for it anyway. You have voted on both sides of this issue since Wednesday, and your concerns about the emergency management plan are sound, and yet you switched your vote and voted the other way.
I don't think so. I think if there is an annex to the emergency response plan, that it should adequately address legislator Lausell's concern. And if that's in there, I was hoping to get his vote for the LPG as well.
Mr. Chairman,
We have others that want to speak, Pat.
I wanted to tell you that I wore this shirt in support of those people who work for us. They're my friends and they work hard, and for any soft company to threaten the loss of jobs because you don't vote for their gas well, there's a problem there. But I don't understand you people. You know, you're weighing things to know what's best for the people of this county. And my representative says his constituents, I'm his constituent, you didn't come to me. This is ridiculous. You need to use common sense when you vote for these kind of things.
Thank you. Paul?
Marie. My name is Marie Simmons. I too am confused, Mr. Harp. I was so pleased by your asking for tabling, so I'm definitely confused. I'm confused by Mr. Harp's vote. Our country depends upon grassroots democracy to bring truth and equity to public policy. Our small towns and villages are the places where the citizens' voices are sacred. When big money and corporate power, where big money and corporate power aren't boss and communities decide their own fate. Yet tonight our legislature has threatened the core of democracy by kowtowing to a Texas corporation that wants to boss this community around. It has allowed a phantom silent majority and Crestwood to be its constituents instead of us, the community. Constituents. We are your friends and we are your neighbors. Thank you.
Can I respond to that? I want you to understand, all right? Rather than spend all of our hard-earned money going to the Mideast, to say. In the geopolitical realm, you saw what the Russians did 10 or 15 years ago, extorting Western Europe during the height of winter, all right? Why should we have our hard-earned money flow to the Mideast, many of whom have vowed to annihilate us? Why not have it remain here in this country and be self-sufficient and independent and continue to innovate and move along this engine of democracy?
Yeah, exactly. Mr. Fagan, I just would like some clarification on the Fagan Engineering website that I looked at last night. You are listed as a principal, so I wondered if you could clarify.
That's an inaccurate website then.
It's your website. It's your website, sir.
It's not my website because I have nothing to do with the management of the company now. I do not own any of the company. Yes, ma'am?
I read an industry article on salt caverns and stone caverns for storage of fossil fuels. And there are approximately 300 of the caverns total in the country, they say. And of those 300, there are about 30, they said at the time anyway, they said there are like 30 that are salt. Most of them are stone lined. Of those 30, there have been 11 catastrophic incidents resulting in loss of life and loss of property. Now this is from the industry. So Crestwood, whoever it was who said it's so safe, where are your statistics? You would be defying one of your compatriot, fossil fuel people if you say that it is so safe. I mean, that's a 30%. 30% is huge when you consider the destruction. And my other point is, do you feel a little responsible if there was an accident? I mean, do you feel at all responsible for doing this voting the way you did?
Thank you for your comments. Yes, ma'am?
I'm Jeannie Judson, and I've lived here most of my life. The way I was born here, this town is my blood. I want to address Mr. Barnes, because when you mentioned that your constituents, the silent majority, advocating for the salt company, I advocate for the salt company. I was around when Mr. Clute and my dad were friends. So this town means a great deal to me. And I think that the silent majority needs to be educated on gas, not salt. We're all supportive of the salt companies.
That's right.
Since 1964. I've been here in public safety for 40 years. There's not been a problem.
But it's small amounts, sir. That's correct. It's small amounts.
Yes, my name is Steve Churchill, and I'm a Seneca County Supervisor, and I've supported gas-free folks for a number of years. Seneca County voted unanimously to ask the DEC to re-site this storage, work with Crestwood. We stand exactly the same today, as well as the City of Geneva, the County of Ontario, Yates County, the City of Geneva, the Town of Waterloo, and soon other towns in Seneca County. What I didn't hear a discussion of too much of tonight was the water, Seneca Lake. I mean, if we lose Seneca Lake, right, there won't be the Finger Lakes, it'll be the Fingerless Lakes. You may plan for trains coming off a trestle or a truck coming down the hill, but I didn't hear anybody talking about anything happening to that lake that serves and provides drinking water for over 100,000 people.
Right.
Half of our county. Half of the lake falls in Seneca County. Now, this is a regional issue. I'm not against this legislature by any measure. Our vote was not against Schuyler County or the legislature. It's against the plan, this dangerous plan We've seen accidents time and time again with systems that are highly engineered. They fail. Columbia failed. Fukushima failed. On and on and on. These systems with redundancy and backup built in over and over and over failed. These salt caverns were not designed to hold LP gas.
I'm Michael, our fellow legislator. I'll talk to him later. I'm from New York. And I would like to thank my representative for recognizing the problem with this resolution. If this resolution was meant to represent the will of the people of Schuyler County, the crowds outside and the crowds inside, regardless of your vote, have shown that it has failed. And it's not in the spirit of the county saying to the state, we the people of Schuyler County want this facility. That's not what has happened here. What you've done, what you have succeeded in doing, is starting to polarize the county a lot more. We have a great agricultural base, we have a growing tourism base, and now we're going to take it down a notch by increasing petrochemical storage and production.
Go ahead.
None of us want to see U.S. Salt close its doors. I mean, we've been a part of this community for our whole lives. I've lived here my entire life. Their threat to close this facility should not motivate your opposition. They have told us in public they don't want salt. They want to use it for storage. They've told you individually the same thing. There is absolutely no guarantee that they won't close U.S. Salt anyway, once they've had their way with our community.
My name is Donna Davis, and I am not particularly from here, but my husband is from here. His family has a long tradition with working at U.S. Salt in whatever incarnation it was. He spent his entire career and my husband's aunt working at ASCO, at everything else. I believe in that salt plant. You've taken us to task for bullying. But you're not standing up to Crestwood saying, if you don't agree with this, we're going to close the salt plant. I think that's a much, much greater form of bullying than some letters from surrounding counties.
That's the end of the 15-minute public comment period. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.